The Florida Gators once again strengthened their 2024 recruiting class, adding blue chip corner Wardell Mack to the fold out of Louisiana. We're going to talk about that here on Locked On Gators.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to a bonus episode of Locked On Gators because, yes, the Florida Gators did it again. They got another commitment, strengthened their 2024 class even more. But before we talk about that, welcome to Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first or second listen of the day. Happy Monday. What a great Monday. 2 episodes of Locked On Gators, a commitment. It's a great day to be a Florida Gator, right, Harrison? I'm Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find my written work with Whole Nine Sports, Giants Country, NFL 33. And now we're talking about this commitment because it is a big one. We've talked about Wardell Mack quite a bit on this show. And it's funny because when we first started talking about him, there were quite a few comments about Florida Gators don't like Wardell Mack. They don't want him. And it was a little, look, they weren't full go the entire time. He's a damn good corner. Okay, Wardell Mack is a Florida Gator commit for the 2024 class. 4-star cornerback out of the state of Louisiana. Florida beat LSU and the Texas Longhorns for him. So welcome to the SEC, Texas. Here's your L. So you lost Wardell Mack there if you're Texas, if you're LSU. The blue chip talent at cornerback is there for this Florida Gators class because we've talked about it where the only corner commit before this is Teddy Foster. I know depending on where you look, Xavier Filsaime is listed as a corner. The only cornerback commit for this 2024 class was Teddy Foster out of Sarasota. Okay, Cardinal Mooney. Now you add Wardell Mack to the fold, and it just continues to show that this Florida Gators coaching staff has no problems going outside of the state of Florida to just bring in the best national talent possible. Your number 3 by On3 and 24/7's composite rankings, if I'm not mistaken for this. You're looking at a fantastic class. Now, Wardell Mack is 231, is the 231st corner on 24/7's board, or 231st national player. He is the 19th corner on the 24/7 national board. You look at On3, and Wardell Mack is higher rated there. He is overall on 3, 72nd by their composite. There, he is the 19th overall player in the country, according to just On3. 231st on 24/7, 262nd on ESPN, 74th on Rivals.com. So you went into Louisiana. By the way, I love the chat popping off. Absolutely love it. As always, let me get a chomp in the chat because that's what we love to do. But out of John Errett, Wardell Mack, Louisiana, you added the second best player in the state of Louisiana, according to On3. You added the 7th best corner, according to the On3 composite, 3rd best corner, according to just On3. This is Florida adding yet another blue chip playmaker at the weakest position in the class, arguably, which is weird because, well, Corey Raymond is the Florida Gators secondary coach. So it's very odd to see the corner room not having a ton of momentum there, or the secondary, really mostly corner, not having a ton of momentum there. But that's been answered now with Wardell Mack. You've got your blue chip corner. You've got Teddy Foster as your developmental piece, your long athlete who you're expecting to develop because, again, he's barely played corner. So now you're looking at a class that really doesn't have many weaknesses if you're the Florida Gators. Also, if you have any questions or anything, put them in the chat and I will get to them in a few minutes. But you look at for Florida, you got your QB. You have your QB and DJ Lagway. Receiver, you have 3 speed demons in there right now. You look at offensive line, Fletcher Westphal is your blue chip. You have a bunch of developmental pieces around him. Personally, I would like to add another blue chip offensive lineman into the fold. You look along the front 4, as in the defensive line and the edge rusher. You got Jamonte Waller is, according to 24/7, your highest rated player. He's one of your 2 5-stars because you have Jamonte Waller as a 5-star on 24/7, as is Xavier Filsaime. So you've got Jamonte Waller at the edge. You've got a Darius Hayes is going to be a hybrid kind of player. You've got Amaris Williams there. You've got Nasir Johnson, Makai Boy-Rowe. You've got players throughout. Kendall Jackson's another one. You've got a ton of talent throughout. Okay? You look at tight end. Yep, you got one, but it's Amir Jackson. He's a damn good one. You look at linebacker, best linebacker class in the country for 2024, and that ain't changing. You've got 4 of the top 10. Yeah, you're gonna have a hard time convincing me that that's going to change at all. Okay, so Florida here is just an elite by 4 of the top 10. I'm including Jamonte Waller being listed as linebacker. By some places, he will be playing an edge rusher spot there. So don't concern yourself with that. But you've got a full class almost, and you're at the point where you can just go, okay, let's just build. Let's just add to it, because again, you're probably looking for a second running back. You might be looking for another receiver. You're probably still looking to add to the secondary. But for the most part, like, there's no glaring weakness in this class. Probably looking for another blue chip offensive lineman. Yes. This started as a class where we were like, okay, you're probably going to see 20 to 22 commits. And then June happened and you added a bunch of these players. And it was like, okay, well, you're probably going to see 25 to 28 now, because there's so much blue chip talent that Florida's in on and could be adding to their class, because guess what? That's what they're capable of doing now with Billy Napier. This is what happens when you actually, what's the word? I hate forgetting it on live. Recruit. That's what happens when you actually recruit. You get blue chip players into Gainesville, Florida. You get this program back up to the top, and that's what Billy Napier and this entire coaching staff is trying to do. And that's what they, I believe, will succeed doing, because that's one of the toughest things that they've had to do, and they're doing it. Like putting it together on the field is obviously also very difficult, but getting the talent here has been the issue for the past couple years in Gainesville. We're going to talk about just the rest of this class. We'll get to questions. I see a few comments popping up. But before we get into that, I am going to say thank you, because today's episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available, and that's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. Simple tools like screening questions makes it easier for you to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience, so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. And it's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires for leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates that you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions apply. And now, thank you again for making Locked On Gators your first or second listen of the day, since this is the second episode of the day with a bonus episode that I was not anticipating. But Florida Gators, you land a commitment, you get a bonus show. Those are the rules. So that's what happens. Hey, then what's up? When you land a commitment, you get a bonus episode. I did want to talk about Wardell Mack for just another couple minutes, we'll say. And if there's anything in the chat, any questions or anything, we'll get to those. But we say all the time when let's say Florida's targeting a player, he commits elsewhere. We sit here all the time and we talk about, it ain't over till he signs. You really think Billy Napier is going to stop recruiting these guys? We say that every single time that Florida doesn't land a commitment. Now, I'm letting you know now. until Wardell Mack comes out and says, I'm shutting it down completely, LSU will always be in this. Okay? Good recruiting staffs don't lay off of a player just because they committed somewhere, especially when that player is a blue chip corner, which LSU historically produces, or at least over the past decade, produces blue chip corners. And I get it. Corey Raymond did most of that. He's in Gainesville now. That's one of the reasons why Wardell Mack probably came to Florida. But that program produces corners. He's an in-state talent. LSU ain't laying off. Okay? That's just not happening. So this is going to be a battle until the very end, unless Wardell Mack comes out and means it when he says, hey, I'm shutting down my recruitment. So yeah, Florida, you got Wardell Mack. I'm happy. I'm hyped as hell about it because I said it before. I talked about Wardell Mack a long time ago, and I had the comments of Florida's not a take. Not a take. Florida doesn't want him. Look, again, I get it. There were some things that were not even questions, just not Florida's preference, I will say, namely the size. Florida's clearly been looking for bigger players, and Wardell Mack, not a huge guy, just not. He's listed as 5'11, 170 or 6', 170. Either way, he's not a huge dude. I will say he looks pretty damn long. So I think that he makes up for it there. Like I've said before, like I'm 5'11. I got a 6'2 wingspan. Like, and I'm not a great athlete. So Wardell Mack, yeah, you could be 5'11, 6 foot. You can have one hell of a wingspan and really make yourself even better there. So for me, this is a huge adding that blue chip corner. It's a big one for the Florida Gators. You've now got blue chip talent pretty much throughout this class. It's about adding the plus ones. If Jeremiah Smith wants to come, you add him, no matter who you have. LJ McCray, you add him. Players like that, you add them, no matter who it is. And Florida, you're pushing for these players, and that's a fantastic thing because you're building this program up. Because again, the thing is, not all these kids are going to work out. We know that. However, they're better than what you have, without a doubt. So Florida adding another blue chip player is huge. This was all Corey Raymond. Yep. Yeah. Corey Raymond is a goat. I don't know. You have an LSU picture, but your name's Mario's crystal ball. I don't know which team you're pulling for there. But Corey Raymond is a goat. Like he is fantastic. The same way I talk about Brian Hartline and I say Brian Hartline's the best wide receiver coach on the planet. Corey Raymond's the best cornerback coach on the planet. Okay. I'm not going to say entire secondary. I'm going to say cornerback coach on the planet. He's the best. And I think that, you can make the case for him being the top secondary coach on the planet. I'm saying definitively top cornerback coach on the planet, same way Brian Hartline's the top wide receiver coach on the planet. Josh Gardner, who's the better bridge to Lagway? Is it Mertz or Max Brown? Honestly, I think stylistically, you would say Max Brown, just like in the terms of like big arm, mobile, athlete, all that stuff. Mertz probably gives you the better chance to win. So I would say, regardless of bridging anything, I'm saying it's Graham Mertz because, college isn't like the NFL where Josh, you're a Bucks fan. So it's like bridging Brady to whoever is going to be the guy next. No, it's not the same with college because, you don't get a good draft pick if you suck. So yeah, there has to be a bridge, obviously. But I think your best bet to win is Graham Mertz. If you're like, we're going to play this style, then sure, Max Brown, but that's not the case at all. It's Graham Mertz. Graham Mertz is the better option to win football games in 2023. Might be the best option to win football games in 2024 if he's still around. And so you ride with that. Thomas, what's up? How you doing? Bishay Glenn. Tawan, yes, thank you. Finally, Tawan, finally, we agree on something here. But thank you all so much for making Locked On Gators. Okay, first off, before I even say the whole outro thing, Josh, same, Josh. We're on the same boat here with Max Brown. Big fan of him. Really hope that he works out. And then again, if he's a good option in 2024, I'm fine to roll with it. But I will say this. Thank you so much for just like ever tuning in to Locked On Gators. Like it is ridiculous that I get to do this as a job. Like that's incredible. And I appreciate you all just beyond words. Like it's a Monday at 12:30 Eastern time. And I know Josh Spain, like I know I don't see Jay here from Ireland, but he's usually here. It's incredible. I love it. Chat, we got Randall said when he first came to Florida, Billy said he wasn't going to get into bidding wars. I do think that changed. I can't definitively say it did, but I do think that changed. Yeah, I absolutely think that it was, hey, we're not going to get into this for recruits. And then it was, hey, if we don't get into this, we're not going to, like, it's not going to be sustainable. So I think that they are still looking for players who want to be Florida Gators, but they're like, hey, we'll pay you to shut it down right now. That's, again, I think pure speculation there. I think they're like, hey, we'll make sure things are set up with NIL. Let's shut it down that way. Pure speculation. But I think that's what happened just because, every team does it. And I think you have to do it to be competitive. And, it's the nature of the beast. And that's kind of my approach. Who do I think might commit next? Not McCray, not LJ McCray. LJ McCray is not committing until October, so it's not LJ McCray. Zay Mincy would be awesome. I think he's the most likely one. I would have thought he would have committed before Wardell, but that's what happened. And yes, okay. So thank you so much. We'll see. I don't think Wardell is going to push for moving up or down the rankings. I think Florida is going to be 3 either way here now. But thank you again so much. I do have to go. This class does keep getting better, Steve. But thanks for making Locked On Gators your first or second listen of the day. We'll be back tomorrow. More Florida Gators football for Locked On Gators. I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with Whole 9 Sports, Giants Country, NFL 33. And I will see you all tomorrow.